Tune in for Patrick Ching's Painting in Paradise.
Aloha, I'm Patrick Ching, and thank you for joining me on Painting in Paradise. In this episode, we learn about Hawaii's rays. We'll get to know a little bit about our three types of rays, which are stingrays, eagle rays, and mantas. In Hawaii, rays are culturally significant and artistically amazing. I'll show you how to draw a manta ray, and then how to paint one. All this and more on a fluidly graceful episode of Painting in Paradise! A ray is a type of fish that has a skeleton made of cartilage and large wing-like fins that make up most of its body. In Hawaii, we have three types of rays: stingrays, eagle rays, and manta rays. Stingrays are called lupe, which in Hawaiian means kite. Their bodies are circular or diamond-shaped. They often lay half buried in the sand, so be careful because at the base of their tail is a barbed spine that can be thrust into a predator and occasionally even a human. Spotted eagle rays in Hawaiian are called hihimanu, which refers to their bird-like magnificence. There's a twin-peaked mountain on the island of Kauai called Hihimanu that resembles the pointed wingtips of the eagle ray. Hihimanu swim to the mid or upper levels of the sea and do not typically rest on the bottom like the stingrays. They do, however, forage on the ocean floor looking for shellfish and food within the sand. Eagle rays also have a spike at the base of their tail, but they'll almost never use it on humans. Hihimanu can sometimes be seen in mating groups, which is usually a large female escorted by several smaller males. Manta rays, known as hahalua, are the largest rays in Hawaii and the world. The sounds you hear are not the manta rays, but nearby humpback whales. The Hawaiian name hahalua may be translated as two breaths. In Hawaii, we have two species of manta: the inshore or reef manta, which grows to have a wingspan of about 8 to 15 feet, and the pelagic or ocean manta, which may grow to be over 20 feet wide. Manta rays lack the spike on their tail that is present on the eagle rays and stingrays. Another interesting fact is that mantas have the largest brains of any fish species. Makes me wonder what they know and what they're thinking. Mantas are often seen feeding on plankton, swirling in circles and using their flaps, which are called cephalic lobes, to guide the water into their large mouths. They have large rolls of gill filaments that act like strainers to gather the small marine animals, or zooplankton, from the seawater. If you'd like to learn more about manta rays, you can get a free manta ray ebook on mantarayadvocates.com. When we return, I'll show you how to draw a manta ray. Hawaii's monk seals and green sea turtles have been around for millions of years. When their numbers got low, they became protected by law. These animals are returning to beaches they've not come to for hundreds of years. This causes excitement and sometimes conflict. Honu and Hina is a children's book that was painted with aloha by many artists of all ages. This story of coexistence answers some questions about the history of these animals, but more importantly, about their future.
Available at the Kilauea Lighthouse, Patrick Ching Art in the Princeville Center, or online at patrickchingart.com.
Alright folks, so now I'm going to show you how I go about drawing a manta ray.
And this one starts with a very particular and easy shape, a diamond. Yep, I'm going to put a diamond right around there, and that's going to be the base of our manta's shape, okay? Simple. And there's your diamond. You know, they got a little tail too, so that can be woo, right there, okay? All right, now that I got my diamond, I'm going to put kind of like an oval shape for its body, maybe a little bit pointed down here, and maybe a little off-shaped egg, okay? Here we go. Right around there. Well, I probably could shape it up a little better, but right there, ta-da! I just formed up my manta ray, yeah. Now, the things I'm going to add to it are the flanges that the manta uses to guide ocean water full of plankton into its mouth, and then it's got all those like filter gills, and that's how it feeds itself. You know, it just kind of opens its big mouth and swims around. It does swirls, acrobatic stuff. It's like, you know, gymnastics all your life. Now I'm going to pay a little more attention to the manta's head, okay? And we'll make kind of like that on both sides, okay? You see that? That's the beginning of his head and the things in front of his head that gather the water into his big old mouth, okay? And I'll make them kind of shaped like that and shaped like that. You know that the manta, when they want to swim fast, they just swirl those things up and they look like horns, and that's why they get the name devil ray sometimes. Yeah. All right. So right here, we got a pretty good shape of our manta ray already. You know, these wingtips, they can get so big, so you can just take them to the edge of the page. But when you come down here, you can give them a little bit of a like that, okay? And that can be the shape of my manta. Now, one more thing the manta has on its back are some markings, yeah. And depending on the kind of manta it is, the markings are a little different. So I'm going to do more of the near-shore manta. I'll make his markings kind of like this. Well, we're going to keep that part white and give him kind of markings around like that on both sides, okay? And I'll reinforce these in the shading process. Now the wingtips also have markings kind of like that. And you might even get some on the back of the body like that. They also got a fin up there from, but top view, you won't be able to see it too much. All right, so now that I got my manta with its shape and its designs, I'm going to take a little bigger pen and really let people see the outline of it. Now, you know these mantas, they say they can get up to like 30 feet in some cases. Oh, that's a lot of feet. Yeah, but right now I'll just start outlining it and you can enjoy and follow along, okay? And that's all I'm going to do with the bigger pen that I use for the outline of the body. So I'll go back to my smaller pen for shading it in, okay? And I'm just going to make the body some places darker, some places lighter. I'm going to let those body markings show up. And now I'm going to whoop and
You can shade your drawing with pencils, pens, colored pencils, even watercolors. Do whatever you want to get it to look the way you want.
We can walk through rainbow, smiling faces as we go. We can climb up the side.
If you want to add some color to your drawing, I noticed that the rays look a little gray or sometimes even brownish when the sun hits them.
Take my hand, come along and fly with me.
So now I'm just gonna do a little bit of shading on the background, make it seem like it's underwater a little bit, and that's all I'll do for my manta. And don't forget your signature.
When we return, I'll show you how to paint the manta. Hey friends, it's me, Patrick Ching, and I'm here to introduce you to the Papahana Mokuakea Song and Color Book Project. All you gotta do is just go to www.papahanamokuakeasong.com, and here, I'm gonna do it right here. See, it's on the computer. And then when the website comes up, it might start playing some music, and if not, you just press this little button right there and bing, boing. Magic! That's Kavika Kahiapo. And he's telling us about this song. You can even download the coloring book pages and the ukulele chords. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. Scroll down and get the free coloring book pages. Right there, you can download the coloring book pages, print them out, and color them. See, look. Now this downloads better with a laptop computer rather than a handheld device. Kavika Kahiapo. So if you want to learn a lot and have fun doing it, download, print, and color the pages at papahanamokuakeasong.com. papahanamokuakeasong.com.
Sacred places need our care. Papahanamokuakea. All right.
And now I'll show you how I go about painting an oil painting of a manta ray. To begin the painting, I first cover the canvas with a thin layer of paint and let it dry. Then I begin to outline my manta and give it a base coat of paint. Mixing paint with a palette knife is one of the funnest things about oil painting. Next, I'll give my background a second layer of paint. In this layer, I'm using thicker paint, blending the colors while they're still wet. Next, I'll add some shadows below the manta and along the reef. Now I'll give my manta a second coat of paint. Remember, this is a thicker coat of paint, and I'll do all the blending I can while the paint is wet. This is when I'm starting to lay in the dark and light areas. Next, I work on the soft blends between the dark and lights. The way I explain it is I'm drawing a map of my manta ray. In this layer, I try to show the viewer where things go and what's in front of what.
And while the paint is wet, I take out a big soft brush and gently blend the colors even further. Now I'm trying to show that this manta is starting to twirl its cephalic lobe. At this time I begin laying in the brighter whites to show the viewer where the sun is hitting. And more soft brushing. Now to give a little light color on the underside of the fin. And a little dark color just for fun. I'm deciding to put a bright edge on the leading fin. I'm also starting to add some orangish brown color because these colors stand out nicely against all the greens and blues in the painting. The manta's open mouth is a focal point of this painting, so I'm going to give it some color and direction. I think a little yellowy color between the brown and white would be nice. Inside its mouth, I'll add a little cooler white. And finally, a little reflection on the eye. Alright friends, so I showed you how I build this painting by putting a base coat and a second coat. Base coats on my manta ray, next coats detailing. There's a lot more I can do on it. I can put some more coral and urchins and fishes and stuff. But in the next section, I'll show you some paintings I completed and talk about the techniques I used to do them.
Rays are one of my favorite subjects to paint. Now I'll show you some of my ray paintings and share some of my thoughts and techniques I use to paint them. Hihimanu was painted at 11 by 14 inches with Genesis heat set oil paints. I enjoyed painting the wing-like fins and got to show how the undersides and the top sides look so different. Flying Over the Edge was a 3 by 4 foot oil painting inspired by a dream I had in Tahiti. I watched a seemingly never-ending school of rays crossing over the yellowish sand-bottom lagoon, across an emerald green that transformed into the depths of blue and purple. Light Ray was a 30 by 40 inch oil painting I did at the Manta Ray Festival at the Outrigger Kona Resort and Spa. In it, I tried to show a little of the inside of the manta's body as it filter feeds on zooplankton. I had in mind how the body of the manta reminded me of a sleek spaceship. The thing that impresses me most about large mantas is the way they expand their gills as they swim backwards in circles, straining the plankton and tiny animals from the sea. That's why I call this painting Liquid Breath. I got to watch mantas close up on a night dive in Kona, and I love the way the light passes through their gills along with the water. Swirling Mantas is a 36 by 48 inch acrylic painting inspired by seeing a trio of mantas from a helicopter while flying over Kaneohe Bay. They seem to create a ball of perpetual motion in a visually spectacular feeding performance as their topside markings came in and out of view. I made the painting playful, showing the colors of the edge of the sandbar. This painting is called Transcendence. In Hawaii, mantas hold an elevated rank among the beings of the earth because they're able to live in the depths of the ocean darkness called po, yet leap into the light, or ao. This painting shows the moment when the manta transcends from po to ao. Its name Hahalua could refer to the two breaths, the breath above and the breath below. I first experienced a school of spotted eagle rays called hihimanu while underwater at a remote atoll in Hawaii. I was so amazed by the scene that I could hear music in my mind as I watched them swirl about. When I got to shore, I took some pictures of the ray and composed them into this painting I named Sea Flight. It's one of my personal favorites, which holds important meaning and fond memories of my time on the atolls in an area now known as Papahanao Mokuakea.
Thank you for joining me on Painting in Paradise. I hope you enjoyed learning about Hawaii's rays and how to draw and paint them. I'd love to see what you did, so why don't you send a picture of you and your art to my website at patrickching.com. Okay? Bye-bye.
Sail